When the neighborhood's new ice cream man starts acting suspiciously, 4 friends decide to investigate him and discover that he makes his ice cream with extremely macabre ingredients. Today we're going to recap the story of the movie, Icream Man. From 1995, in the 1960s, in a suburb of Los Angeles, an ice cream truck arrives in the neighborhood to the delight of the children. However, everything turns into a nightmare when another car appears and inside are 2 armed men. Without thinking twice, they fire their guns at the ice cream man, who falls to the ground, already lifeless. The residents of the street are shocked, especially a boy called Gregory, who sits next to the ice cream man's body and laments the fact that no one will give him ice cream anymore. Years pass and a new ice cream man arrives in the neighborhood. When they hear the sound of his truck, the children gather to buy ice cream, but they soon realize that the ice cream man, who is none other than Gregory, is acting very strangely. Nevertheless, 3 friends, Tuna, Heather and Johnny, buy ice cream and go to meet their friend, Paul, at a playground. There, the 4 of them are on a merry-go-round and talk about the story of a book Paul has read, until they are interrupted by a garbage collector who also knows the story. The old man's strange attitude makes the children leave, leaving only Roger, a boy who was sitting on a swing. Then the ice cream truck appears again and the boy goes to talk to the ice cream man, but from behind the counter, the guy brings his hand close to a sharp knife. Later, Gregory parks his truck at the ice cream parlor next to the home of his caregiver, Nurse Warden. He opens the doors of the vehicle and someone's screams are heard coming from inside the truck's freezer. The screams attract the nurse's dog, who starts barking at the ice cream man. Unfortunately, the man pulls out an ice cream which is actually a knife in disguise and eliminates the poor animal. Far away, Johnny returns home and is pestered by his older brother, Jacob, who shows off that he's about to become a policeman. Afterwards, the family gets together for dinner, but the phone rings and Johnny's mother is told that Roger, the boy who was at the playground, has disappeared. The next morning, Gregory sleeps next to the truck and has a strange dream, which is more like a memory. In it, Gregory is tied to a hospital bed, while the younger Nurse Warden feeds him ice cream. Then the dream is interrupted by the nurse herself, who wakes him up to go to work because he needs to pay the rent for the month. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, Tuna meets up with his 3 friends and they go to the work of his father, the businessman Martin. There, the old man receives a call from his wife, but it's actually from a romantic affair inviting him on a date. With this invitation, Martin tells Tuna to hurry home and gives him money to buy more ice cream. Minutes later, the ice cream man drivers through the neighborhood and is approached by 2 detectives, Baldwin and Gifford, who ask him about the missing boy. Gregory says he has no information about this and sells one of his famous chocolate ice creams to Detective Baldwin. To the detective's misfortune, in addition to the portion of chocolate, the sadistic ice cream man adds pieces of his victims to the mix, to give the ice cream a special touch. Afterwards, Gregory drives off with the truck and the neighborhood children gather around it. In addition to the children, Wanda, Martin's lover, appears and breaks the queue to place a large order for ice cream to be delivered to her house. Gregory takes a liking to the beautiful woman and, after serving the children, he decides to fulfill her request, which becomes an opportunity for a romantic encounter. Later, after eating a lot of ice cream, the friends say goodbye to Heather and head home. However, Paul still wants to buy more ice cream and sets off alone in search of the truck. He finally finds the ice cream cart, which is parked in a dark parking lot. On seeing the boy, the ice cream man, Gregory, says that Paul reminds him of himself as a child and offers him an ice cream on the house. Then he takes the ice cream from the freezer and, unbeknownst to the boy, inside is the body of the old garbage collector. Finally, Gregory hands Paul the ice cream, but accidentally drops the garbage collector's tool, which is covered in blood on its tip. Paul soon suspects what has happened, so the ice cream man knocks him unconscious and puts him in his truck. Just then, Tuna runs into the street and sees his friend being taken away by the ice cream man and deduces that he has been eliminated by the guy. Tuna tries to hide behind the dumpster, but Gregory notices him and says he's going to take Paul to a hospital. However, Tuna doesn't believe it and runs away, but the ice cream man warns him that if the boy tells anyone what happened, he and his family will be in danger. After running as far as he could, Tuna hid in some bushes and, to his surprise, found Roger. The boy says he wasn't caught by the ice cream man, but that he's been hiding all this time because he saw him capture the old garbage collector. Tuna tells Roger not to worry, as he will ask his father to help him unmask the ice cream man. The 2 boys split up and Tuna returns home just in time to see his parents discussing the relationship. Even so, he tries to tell them what happened, but neither of them pays any attention to the boy and they force him to go to his room. Afterwards, Tuna looks out of the window and, to his surprise, the ice cream truck pulls up in front of his house and Gregory looks at the boy with a look on his face. The next day, Tuna's mother takes him to the market, but when the boy goes to pick up his sneakers, he finds them outside, covered in ice cream and worms. If that wasn't scary enough, at the market, Tuna meets the ice cream man again in front of a freezer. Desperate, the boy runs off in search of his mother, but collides with an iron railing, which falls right on top of him. The ice cream man removes the grating and Tuna runs back through the market, but the guy follows him everywhere. The boy panics because he can't find his mother and hides under a vegetable counter. The ice cream man continues to follow him, but the boy climbs onto a trolley and sneaks over to the meat freezer. Tuna hides among the meat until someone enters the freezer. He fears it's the ice cream man, but luckily for him, it's just the market butcher, who takes him to the management room. Shortly afterwards, the manager calls the boy's mother, who asks her son what happened. He tells her that the ice cream man threatened his family and took the life of his friend, Paul. Upon hearing this, the boy's mother immediately calls the police and detectives Maldwin and Gifford go to the ice cream parlor in search of Gregory. There, it is revealed that the place belonged to Butch Burkell, known as the King of Ice Cream, and who was gunned down years ago. Gregory says that he has since taken over Butch's business and considers him to be his greatest idol. Even so, the detectives decide to investigate the ice cream parlor and, with the help of other police officers, they begin to search the place for evidence. However, the police destroy the entire ice cream parlor, which makes Gregory furious, but they find no evidence to incriminate the ice cream man. The cops apologize and leave, but Detective Gifford still suspects the ice cream man and decides to investigate further into his past. After the two detectives leave, Gregory returns to the ice cream parlor to clean up. He also opens a compartment that leads to a secret room, where the ice cream man keeps Lil Paul hidden. He forces the boy out of the room and then activates a machine with rotating knives used to grind nuts. Paul is afraid of the guy throwing him in, but instead the ice cream man tells him that he won't hurt him and that he's just having a bad day. Far away, Heather, Tuna and Johnny attend the mass held by the boy's father. Afterwards, the three gather at Tuna's house to talk about Paul's supposed perishment, until they hear the noise of the ice cream truck. The three friends are outraged that the guy is still on the loose and decide to avenge their friend. Johnny then comes up with the idea of taking photos of the ice cream man, using his brother's camera, so that they can prove the crimes he has committed. Heather and Tuna agree to the plan and, at the end of the day, Johnny takes the camera and the three of them follow the ice cream man on their bikes, armed with flares. Without suspecting that he is being followed, Gregory goes to the cemetery and takes out a heavy black bag, which seems to have a body in it. The three boys arrive just as the ice cream man stops in front of a gravestone and pulls out a huge knife. He uses it to tear open the bag and the boys believe that Paul's body is inside. But instead, inside the bag is a huge box of ice cream, which the guy leaves in front of the headstone. Gregory then talks to himself and gets emotional, until he finally decides to leave. Soon after, the three boys go to the tombstone and discover that it belongs to Butch Burkell, the late king of ice cream. This leaves the trio even more confused and they continue to follow the ice cream man down the road. Finally, Gregory stops the truck in front of Wanda's house. While he delivers the package she asked for, Johnny and Heather arrive at the house, but Tuna stays behind. Johnny says he's going back to find his friend and Heather decides to get into the ice cream truck to take the photos. Inside, the girl finds human pieces, arranged as if they were ingredients, and is horrified. Despite this, she takes the photos and opens the freezer to investigate. Inside, she finds bloodstains in Paul's glasses. The girl fears that something very bad has happened to her friend, but she continues to take the photos that will prove once and for all that the ice cream man is a criminal. In the meantime, Johnny finds Tuna and tells him that Heather is inside the ice cream man's truck. Even though he's tired, the boy sets off in search of his friend, but runs into the two detectives, who are patrolling the neighborhood. This frightens the boy and he fires a rocket at the detective's car, but it has no effect. Annoyed, the two detectives put Tuna and Johnny in the car to take them home, but Tuna says his friend is in danger and asks them to rescue her. Even though they don't believe the boys, they decide to comply with the request and send a police car to Heather's house. When they get there, the policeman talks to the girl's father about what happened and he goes to his daughter's room to check that she is at home. Arriving at the room, he finds Heather asleep and tells the policeman to leave. What he doesn't realize is that Heather had returned home minutes before, without being caught by the ice cream man and with the photos saved on her camera. The next morning, Heather drops the film off at a store to have the photos developed, but she still needs to get the money together to pay for the service. She then goes to Johnny's house, who puts together all his savings to pay for the photos. However, Jacob and his girlfriend show up just in time and see the boys tampering with his camera. Annoyed, he threatens the boys and tells them to hand over the money to pay for the photos at the store. Meanwhile, the ice cream man delivers a couple of ice creams to two policemen and then goes to Wanda's house. There he meets Tuna's father, who says goodbye to her after another romantic encounter. However, as he was about to drive away, he was stopped by the ice cream truck, which was right in the middle of the road. Martin gets out of his car in a rage and tells the ice cream man to move his vehicle, but no one responds. Even so, he doesn't give up and opens the truck doors and screams for the ice cream man. To his misfortune, Gregory is hiding inside and uses a waffle iron to fry Martin's face. Minutes later, the ice cream man goes to Wanda's house, who is happy to see him for another romantic date. Gregory says that he was also looking forward to meeting her and that he has a present for her. However, the gift was Martin's head, stuck in an ice cream cone. At the sight of something so grotesque, the woman screams in despair and Gregory tells her to shut up so as not to attract attention, but when he sees that it's no use asking, he eliminates the woman with his scythe. Elsewhere in the city, detectives Maldwin and Gifford talk about their investigations into the ice cream man. They discover that Nurse Warden, Gregory's current carer, was dismissed from the clinic because, like her patients, she also suffered from mental disorders. They decide to dig deeper into the story and head to the psychiatric clinic where Gregory was admitted. Meanwhile, Jacob and his girlfriend arrive at the store where Heather left the film to develop the photos. Jacob believes that the boys did it to reveal the secret photos of him with his girlfriend. However, while the photos are being developed, his girlfriend screams in horror when she sees the pictures of the ice cream truck that Heather had taken. Later, Gregory returns to the ice cream parlor, where Paul is waiting for him to make more ice cream. The ice cream man seems to have become attached to the boy and asks for his help to mix the ice cream with his secret ingredient, which is nothing more than the remains of his victims. At the end of the day, the detectives arrive at the psychiatric clinic. They talk to the director about Nurse Warden and the man tells them that for many years, she was the patient's favorite because she always gave them ice cream, especially Gregory. In the middle of the conversation, one of the patients starts screaming and the director goes to see him, but asks the detectives to leave. Instead, they follow him through the clinic and find a hospital ward full of graffiti with macabre texts and drawings. They continue to follow the clinic until they find the doctor injecting a substance into the patient's brain with a huge syringe. On seeing the two detectives, the director tells them that this is not going to be a good day for them and calls for his patients. Suddenly, several of them begin to surround the detectives, who decide to leave as soon as possible. The patients seem to be harmless, but even so, more of them are appearing and starting to follow the detectives down the corridors. Maldwin then suggests that they split up to investigate the place and gather more evidence of what is going on in the clinic. Gifford accepts and nonchalantly walks down the corridors, oblivious to the dozens of patients who cross his path. Meanwhile, Detective Maldwin takes a different route and sees several of the clinic's residents in degrading situations. To make matters worse, some of the patients go berserk and try to hit the detective, but he manages to dodge their attacks and hits back with punches and elbows. Finally, the two manage to get out of the clinic and ask for reinforcements to investigate the place, while they set off in search of the ice cream man. Back in the neighborhood, Tuna, Heather and Johnny ride their bikes down the street until, to their misfortune, the ice cream man shows up in his truck. The three of them pedal their bikes as fast as they can, but Tuna is caught and the ice cream man locks him in the freezer. Desperate about what might happen to his friend, Johnny returns home with Heather and asks Jacob for help. Even though he doesn't fully believe his brother, he decides to help, as this could be his chance to put his police training into practice. So Jacob takes his gun and badge and sets off in search of the boy, along with his girlfriend and the two kids. Hours later, they arrive at the ice cream parlor and Jacob decides to go inside, while the others wait for him in the car. While he goes to the ice cream parlor, Gregory is with Paul and tries to convince the boy of his admiration for the ice cream king, the late Butch. However, he soon realizes that there are intruders on the premises and tells the boy to hide so that he can settle the matter. Finally, Jacob enters the ice cream parlor and comes across a dark corridor full of paintings and photos. With his flashlight, he investigates the place, but doesn't realize that one of the pictures was the disguised ice cream man who takes advantage of Jacob's distraction and attacks him from behind. Outside the ice cream parlor, Jacob's girlfriend is worried about him, but soon sees him leaving the parlor and returning to his car. However, that was Gregory, who had disguised himself in Jacob's clothes, and when he got into the car, he attacked the young woman with an ice pick, right under her chin. Horrified by this, Johnny and Heather run out of the car and towards a police car, which is parked near the ice cream parlor. The two open the car door to ask the officers for help, but instead find their bodies, with their heads removed. Just then the ice cream man appears, holding their heads, to scare the youngsters even more. His plan works and they run desperately around the place until they find a house with the lights on. Johnny and Heather go there to ask for help, but end up at Nurse Warden's house. They ask the woman for help and meanwhile, Tuna is still inside the truck, but with a lot of effort, he manages to get out of the freezer. The boy tries to run away, but outside the truck, Gregory is waiting for him and tells him to go back inside. Just then, the pair of detectives finally arrive on the scene and point their guns at the ice cream man. However, Gregory closes the doors of the truck and starts attacking the boy, as well as forcing him to eat all his ice cream. The detectives go to the side door of the truck and order the ice cream man to hand over the child or they will shoot him. Gregory obeys the order and lets Tuna out, so the detectives take the opportunity to get into the truck and arrest the criminal. However, they don't find him, and Gregory, who had climbed onto the roof of the truck, takes advantage of their distraction and attacks them with his ice cream scoops. After taking care of the detectives, the ice cream man goes back to look for Tuna, but the boy has managed to escape into the ice cream parlor. So he goes to the nurse's house and captures Johnny and Heather. The villain takes them both into the ice cream parlor, but at this point Paul realizes what he's doing to his friends and decides to help them. The boy then leaves the ice cream parlor and shows Gregory the painting of Butch Burkell, which leaves the ice cream man without a reaction and under the boy's control. Thanks to this, Paul lures Gregory to the nut-crushing machine and then gives him back the painting. The ice cream man continues to gaze in admiration at his idol, but then the boy turns the machine back on and Gregory is pulled into it and turned into ice cream, just like his victims. A few days later, Johnny, Tuna and Heather meet up to go to school, along with Roger, who has become the new member of the group. The boy asks what happened to Paul and Tuna tells him that he's going through therapy after his traumatic experience with the ice cream man. Then, in a dark room, Paul appears alone and seems to be playing with a mysterious machine. It is soon revealed that this machine is used to make ice cream, and the boy gives a sinister smile, indicating that he will be taking Gregory's place to become the new ice cream man in the neighborhood.